do it. So you'll remember last lesson, I'm just going to do a quick recap. We started learning about how to draw your box plots. Okay, and we know that your box plots are built upon the 5-number summary, which we learned previous to that lesson. So remember, your 5-number summary will have your minimum, your Q1, median, Q3, maximum. And also that involves you finding your interquartile range and then your fences. So you'll find that I think the 5-number summary isn't just quite a 5-number summary. There is more to it. Okay, I don't know if that's here. No, that's in the previous one. Here we go. Okay, like I said, minimum, Q1, median, Q3, maximum. And minimum and maximum just means the lowest and the highest number. Median is the middle number, or Q2. So median and Q2 are exactly the same. Q1 is the middle of the lower half, and Q3 is the middle of the upper half. So if we have, really quickly, a set of numbers here, minimum and maximum right there. Oh, let me highlight it. So you've got minimum, maximum, done. Median is the middle number, so the middle number is 20. Q1 is the middle of the lower half, so this lower half here, the middle number is 18. Q3 is the middle of the upper half, so 33 is the upper half, the middle of the upper half. I'll get rid of all that. Okay. And also, just remember, when you're looking at Q1 and Q3, do not include that median. So if I'm looking at the lower half, I don't want to include the 20. And I'm looking at the upper half, I don't want to include the 20 again. So there, you don't include that median. If your median is between two numbers, like for example, if your median was between 19 and 20, add them together and divide it by 2. That's how you get the median. Lower and upper fence, so make sure you watch out for the formulas for that. So if lower fence, it's going to be Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR, and then upper fence is Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR, and it's all about finding outliers. So anything below the lower fence or above the upper fence is going to be an outlier. So if you've forgotten how to do that, watch the videos that I've recorded. They're all up in YouTube. I will upload the video links in here again at some point, so in this page, but I haven't been doing that, but I will do that from today. So we're going to now look into, other thing as well is that 5-number summary, you need it to make a box plot. Okay, if you look at a box plot and what it represents, okay, it represents the 5-number summary. So you've got the minimum, there's another color, you've got the minimum, you've got the Q1, you got median or Q2, you got the Q3, and then you got the maximum. But the maximum can also be the outlier. But watch out where the maximum ends. If there's an outlier, the maximum for where the line ends is the next highest number. Okay, so the highest number after the outlier can be the next. Well, it's not the maximum; it's where the line will end. Okay, but the maximum, if it's an outlier, it stays as the maximum still. Okay, so let's really quickly, I might draw a box plot for a 5-number summary that looks like this. So in this page here, if you want to, I'm going to come up with some numbers, and I would like you guys to actually copy this down. So I'll make it really simple though, yeah? So we'll just go 3, 4, 5, 7, 10, 11, 21, and I might go 22. Actually, no. Let's make this different. Let's go 29. How many numbers do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's make it 8 numbers. And then this can be 60. Okay. So there's my numbers. So I want to do my 5-number summary. So you'll be doing this a lot in year 11 when you go ahead and do maths. So you want to write down the maximum, the Q1, the median, or you could call it the Q3 as well. The Q2. Then you've got Q3. Sorry, I should start with minimum. My bad. Bottom is maximum. Okay, so let's do that. Also, you want to include, whenever you do 5-number summary, don't stop there. I want you to also include the IQR, because chances are you're going to probably need it anyway. Okay, so let's look for the minimum and the maximum. Anyone want to tell me minimum and maximum? What is it? 3 and 60. So start with that. 3, and then 60. Okay, next is, so that's IQR, sorry, 60. Median. Okay, where's the median? The middle number. So if you want to find the median, you can work your way out and make your way to the middle, or you can use that formula of n plus 1 divided by 2, and it gives you the position of the median, so the location of where to find it. So here I've got 8 numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's going to be 8 plus 1 divided by 2. And the position of the median is 4.5. That means the 4.5th number, 1, 2, 3, 4.5, right here is between 7 and 10. So the median for 7 and 10, add them together. 7 plus 10 divided by 2, which is 17 divided by 2, which is 8.5. So the median, or the Q2, is 8.5. Okay, so write that down for median. Okay, next, now we do the lower quartile Q1. So that's going to be focusing on this half here. Remember, do not include the median when you're doing your Q1 and Q3. So I can see here, Q1 would be between 4 and 5. Okay, so that's Q1. So I'll write here, really quickly, that's the median. Here is the Q1. Okay, so the Q1 here, between 4 and 5, can anyone guess what it is? Good, 4.5, because between 4 and 5 is 4.5. And then between the Q3, up here, is between these numbers. Okay, so between 11 and 29, so this is Q3. So Q3 would be 11 plus 29 divided by 2. That equals 20. So the Q3 is 20. Right, so you can put that in here. So Q1, 4.5. And the Q3 is 20. Okay. And now the IQR. Remember, your IQR is going to be Q3 take away Q1. Which means that your IQR is 20 minus 4.5, which is 15.5. Okay, that's your IQR. 29, what about 29? It's 20 minus 4.5. Q3 minus Q1. It's alright. So now from there, you do your upper and your lower fences. Okay, now this is again one of the trickier bits because people tend to miss this. You need to figure out which one is an outlier. But before you even say, which one do you guys think might be an outlier? 60 definitely. Do you think 29 is an outlier? Could be, but that's why we need to check it. So let's do the fences. So lower fence, upper fence, do both of them. Lower fence formula, remember, is Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR. Okay, so this one is going to be 4.5. Let's use another color. 4.5 minus 1.5 times an IQR of, IQR of 15.5. That's the one. Okay, so put in your calculator, 4.5, take away 1.5 times 15.5. And that equals negative 18.75, which means that there is no outlier on this side. Okay, which makes sense. Now we do the upper fence. So for the upper fence, it's Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR. Okay, so that's going to be 20 plus 1.5 times 15.5. Okay, so in here on my calc, 20 plus. Okay, and this is to tell me if there's any fences. So that's 43.25. Which means, so we hypothesized that 60 was definitely, we weren't sure if 29 was or wasn't, but it's not an outlier. So here you want to state 60 is an outlier because it's higher than 43.25. So anything beyond or below the upper and lower fence is going to be your outliers. Okay, I'm just gonna fix this. Okay, so LF means lower fence, UF means upper fence. You want to make sure you split it like that, just so you have space to actually write all this properly. Now the last bit is to make the box plot. Okay, so you need your 5-number summary, which is this guy here on the left, in order to make your box plot. Okay, very important that you have that. So with your box plot, just have a look at your numbers. It looks like your numbers range from 3 all the way to 60. So on my number line, okay, make sure it's nice and straight, nice and neat. I might just go up by tens to make my life easy. So start at 0 and then go up by tens all the way up to, I'm gonna go up to 70. So 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and I'll just go up to 70 for the sake of making sure that I've covered every single number properly. Okay, so it goes up to 60. Even though 60 is the highest number, I'm just going to go up to 70 there. Okay, and you want to make sure you name your box plots. I'm just going to call this numbers. It really depends on what kind of data you're working with, but you want to make sure you name it. Okay, so let's start by putting in my minimum and the maximum. So the minimum here is 3. All right, so you want to go on your number line and just put a dot on 3. If this is 5 right here, that means 3 should be somewhere here. So just make a note of where it is. And the maximum is 60. But remember, 60 is an outlier. So what I'm going to do is make 60 a really big dot, so I know that it's an outlier. So it's different from the rest. Okay, next we do Q1, median, and Q3. So Q1 is 4.5. So if 5 is here, 5 is about here, 4.5 would be about here, I'm going to presume. So just a bit below 5. So that's 4.5 right there. If I can make it straight. Okay. Median is 8.5. So if, again, 5 is right in the middle, 8.5 should be about here. And my Q3 is 20. So 20 is over here. And now from there, we join the lines like so. So it makes a box. Okay. Now, we can draw the whiskers from the minimum back to the box. But what about the other side? Well, remember, you cannot include the outlier as part of your line. So what's the next highest number on my number line, guys? 29. So that means our line should only go up to 29. So that'll be just before 30, so over here. So there is my box plot. And if you remember last week, last lesson, sorry, don't forget to put the lines in as well so that you know what the numbers on top of each part. So for example, here the minimum is 3. Here it's 4.5. Here it's 8.5. This is 20. And this is 29. And your outlier, remember, was 60. So don't forget to put those numbers. Okay, very important that you do. Okay, so that's basically how we create how we go from number line or numbers all the way to 5-number summary, upper lower fence, and then the box plot itself. Okay, so that's just a quick recap of what happened last lesson. So everyone finished copy? Getting there? Getting there? Left? Yep, all right, I'll leave that real quick. Okay, so part 2 of our box plots is going to now include, and obviously our learning intention, comparing data sets. Okay, you're going to compare data. And when it comes to comparing, all you're really talking about is the differences and the similarities between both box plots. So you can have 2 box plots, one on top of each other, and you're just going to tell me what's the same, what's different. Okay, and as a success criteria, you're obviously going to be able to compare parallel box plots. Parallel just means one box plot on top of the other. Okay, so 2 box plots. Sometimes you might even have 3 box plots. It does happen. All right, so if you look at comparing data, there's 4 things that you need to talk about with your box plots: shape, center, spread, and outliers. So shape talks about whether the data, so your only options are, and I'll write them here for you. You've only got three options. Anyone remember the three options for shape? You've got positively skewed, good, positively skewed, negatively skewed, and approximately. Not exactly symmetrical, but approximately. So write these down. You've got three options for shape. Positively skewed, negatively skewed, and approximately symmetrical. Now, if you actually remember back to the previous chapter, and I'm just going to scroll up real quick, and I'll go back to that. You'll remember how I talked about shapes, and I got you to draw those box plots. Here are the examples of box plots and their shapes. So if it's a box plot that looks approximately symmetrical, have a look at where the median is, okay, in the box plot. For a positively skewed box plot, see that it's mostly on the left, so that means your data will look like this, then it goes down. If it's negatively skewed, then you'll see that your box plot is on the right. So it starts low, then it goes high like that. Okay, so going back to what we wrote just then, you can just draw some little examples of what the shapes might look like if you want to. So I'll draw that here for you too, and you can copy it. So for your box plots, again, you've got three options when you're comparing. You've got either positively skewed, so as a box plot shape, that might look like this. Let's just draw it. So it's got a box plot. It's mostly on the left. Okay, mainly on the left. So your data might be on this side, and then there's a long line on the right. Okay, so that's positively skewed. If it's negatively skewed, it might look something like this. Okay, where your data is mainly on the right. Okay, but at the same time, your median can move around. Okay, but try to use the box, its location, and the median as a skew sort of indicator. And approximately symmetrical would mean that your box plot is mainly in the middle, and so is your median. Okay, so it might look something like that. So it's mainly in the middle. Okay, so that's what those shapes might look like. And we'll go through more of that as we go. Median, or the next thing you need to compare is the center. So you just want to talk about the median. So where is the middle line for both of them? Spread, so you want to talk about the IQR, so Q3 minus Q1, and range. Range is maximum minus minimum. And then outliers. So again, if you actually do your 5-number summary, okay, and then do your upper and lower fence, and then you just tell me what are the outliers, then that'll be good. That's all you need to tell me. Okay, so let's do some examples of comparing box plots. So let's look at these two box plots here. Okay, before we actually start comparing, and I know there's already answers there, you want to talk about the shape, the center, the shapes that spread, and the outliers. So shape is the skew, center is the median, the spread is IQR and range, and then outliers is if there is any outliers. So if we look at this example, I can already see that they've made a report here, and it says here that the distribution, so the shape of quiz 1 is positively skewed with an outlier of 100, and the distribution of quiz 2 is approximately symmetrical with no outliers. So they've kind of mixed and matched shape and outliers in there. So you can see that as well. This is approximately symmetrical, and this one is positively skewed. You can see that. And then they've said that there's an outlier. So you want to mention that. Then they mentioned the median. So the median for quiz 1 is 25. Yep, so it's right there. And then the median for quiz 2 is 67. And you just want to mention that. IQR, so the interquartile range for quiz 1 is 35. So they calculated that by Q3, which is this guy, take away Q1, which is this one. Okay, so 15 minus 15, which is 35. And then the IQR for quiz 2 would be 33. So they would have mentioned that as well. And then they also talked about the range. So you have to talk about the range. So the range for quiz 1 would be 60. So 70 minus 10. Actually, no, sorry. 100 minus 10. Okay, which would be 90. And then the range for quiz 2 is 90 minus 40, which is 50. Okay, so remember, range is just maximum minus minimum. Technically, you don't actually need to write a conclusion. Okay, you don't need to put that in there, but they've included it in there anyway. Because technically, if you just wrote all of this in the SAC, I'd be happy with that. That's all you need to have. Just tell me what's the distribute shape, the center, the spread, and the outliers. Those 4 things. Okay, let's try this one. So these ones have blanks that you need to fill in. I want you to try and fill in the blanks here and tell me what is the shape, center, and spread, and outliers if there's any for both of the groups. Okay, just with the report here, with the parts that I've underlined, I just need you to circle which one is the correct one. Okay, with these ones. Just circle the correct one. Okay, the correct one of these. So fill in the blanks and then circle the correct response for those ones. Alright, for the first one, so you've got 2 groups, group A, group B, and the first part here is you're going to compare the shape and the outliers. So the skews and the outliers if there's any. So let's start with group A. So the shape or the distribution of group A, so let's write group A. Okay, so what's the shape of group A, guys? What do we think it is? Not quite. So it looks like it starts high like this, and it'll go down like that. So what's the shape for this? Positive. So I would say group A is positively skewed. And does it have outliers? Are there any outliers here?
No.
No. So you'd write without outliers. I'll just circle without. And the distribution of group B. So Ramia, what did you say the distribution was for group B? Good. Negatively skewed. So it starts low, then it goes up. So negatively skewed. And does it have outliers, guys? No. So it's got no outliers. Okay. The median of, again, we'll do group A. So what did we have for the median for group A? So if you look at group A, where is that middle line? 15. So the median of group A is 15. And the median of group B, so looking at group B, where does the middle line fit? That's kind of hard to say.
I said 17.
I would say, yeah, 17. 17 is probably a good guess. In the SAC, I will make sure that it's a bit more clear. That's probably 17. Okay, the IQR, so we'll go group A. So the IQR, so Q3 minus Q1, so it's going to be 20, which is here, this line. And then the Q1 is about, I'll say that's 12. So 20 minus 12 is 8. So the IQR of group A is 8. Okay, and the IQR of group B, 20 minus 12. That's what I did for IQR. Group B, the IQR, I think that might be 18. And this would be 15. So 15 minus 18 is 3. So the IQR of group B, is 3. The range of group A. Okay, now we talk about the range. So I think that's about 28, and that's 5. So 28 minus 5 is 23. Right, so that means the range of group A is 23, and the range for group B, so that's 20, and that's 10. So maximum minus minimum is 10. The range of group B is 10. Very bad writing. G-R-O-U-P. Okay, so in conclusion, again, you don't need to have a conclusion. That's okay. All you need to have mainly is this, but we'll do the conclusion anyway. because they ask us to. So in conclusion, we'll start with Group A. So Group A so do they have a lower, similar, or higher median than Group B? So if you look at, so median for Group A is 15, and that's lower than Group B. So it's lower, because so they have a lower median. Do they have a lower, similar, or higher IQR? So if you look at the IQR and spread, Group A has a IQR of 8 and a range of 3. A range of 23. But then you've got a IQR for B is 3 and the range for B is also 3. So that means theirs would be higher. So they have a higher IQR and a higher median and range. Also the range is higher. And then the range compared to Group B. Okay. Now, technically, again, all you have to have is this. If you can actually just talk about this for me in the SAC and in your assessments, I would be happy with that, and you will get full marks for it. But if you included the little bit in the end, that's fine too. Yes, Houghton.
If the medians were 16 and 17, would you put it as similar or not?
You technically could, yeah. But if you wrote in the SAC and wrote the median for Group A is higher with the 17 compared to B with the 16, that's good too. You don't have to write lower, higher, similar, but be exact with it, I would say. It's just because this is the options that they gave us. Yeah. Cool. Actually, if it was similar, then they'd have to be the same number. That's what I would go with. So treat it as that. Cool. And then last one is I'm going to get you guys to actually write the report without those prompts. Okay, so I want you to now compare the shape, the center, the spread, and the outliers. But I want you to actually do it in that order. So right here, the shape. So for example, the shape, blah, blah, blah. And then the center, blah, blah, blah. The shape, the range, or the spread, blah, blah, blah. And then the outliers, if there are any. You don't have to write it like this, okay, in this format. But I would like you to write what's the shape for both of them, what's the center for both of them, what's the spread for both of them, and is there any outliers for both of them. And then we'll see how